Hey everyone, oh yep, the webcam's on. Okay, so how you guys going? I'm doing pretty alright. Moved into a new house and it's a lot bigger and spacious, so been unpacking boxes and shit. Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, looking a bit dashing at the moment. Are you looking dashing? Comment below, let me know. But I'm here for a serious matter. I really am. This review's a bit early, but still it's a review. I'm here to basically save you guys some money. UFC 186 I'm here to talk about, and it is literally one of the worst UFC pay-per-views, like cards ever, like seriously. If you look at this pay-per-view side by side with UFC 187, it's a fucking joke. UFC 187 is probably one of the most stacked cards in UFC, like ever in history, and just looking at this is an absolute joke. Like, at first, because I was talking to a few people, and I was thinking, oh, should I buy UFC 186 and all that? Because it had Barao versus Dillashaw, and that was the sequel to the first fight, and I really want to see that. And that was the only reason I was going to buy this pay-per-view. Not for Demetrius Johnson or anything. I was going to buy it because of the rematch. And then when that fight was cancelled because of injury, Dillashaw sustained an injury. I was like, nah, this card's got no hope now. And some other people a bit more later than me, though, like when Rampage, because this whole thing Bellator, I'll get into that in a second, he can't have his fight now, but I was a lot more sooner. The only reason I was interested in this card was for that rematch. Clear my throat for a second, gosh. But yeah, Barao started talking some shit, and he's got no right to talk some shit. I found that fucking funny. He was saying like, oh, you can run but you can't hide. Like, what the fuck? You can't talk. Like, you got fucking destroyed in the first fight, and the last fight, you guys were meant to fight at UFC 177, and you fucking passed out because of cutting weight and shit. Like, once he loses this fight to Dillashaw, though, I do believe that's going to happen. He's going to have to move up to featherweight and just get dominated there as well. So, but yeah, so that was the first nail in the coffin. I actually think that was the last nail in the coffin, really, right there. When that main event was gone, I had no interest in this card because pay-per-view price this year has gone up by like $5 or $10 or some shit, and here in Australia it cost $49.95, so basically $50. And if you're paying that for pay-per-view, you want it to have some fights you're interested in. And I have this like, I believe that every pay-per-view should at least have, like, you should have your main event, big fight, but it should have at least two other fights which are pretty big, like something to fall back on, so if someone gets injured. But this card didn't really have that. Like, it had some stylistic matchups, like interesting ones on the card. But when I was looking at it, I was just thinking, oh, what the fuck? Like Machida and Rockhold, I just watched that yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. But that card had some interesting fucking fights on it. It had like Holloway and Swanson going at it. You know, you had fucking, you know, Machida and Rockhold. You had Jack Race go on the card. That was a great card, and that was on Fox Sports. I think what this card was missing was a Machida versus Rockhold sort of fight. It missed like a Holloway and Swanson sort of fight. I think they should have switched it. They should have Michael Bisping and Dollaway on the Fox Sports card. And Rampage is not even on the card now, but I was going to say that as well on Fox Sports and switch around the cards really, because that Fox Sports card had like so many more interesting fights on that, and like a title contender, number one contenders match on that Fox Sports card with Machida and Rockhold, and like that would have brought a lot more eyes to this pay per view. Because that fight right there, a lot of people were so anticipated for it. If that was the co-main event for UFC 186, they would have had something to fall back on. But like, this is the thing, because since they've done this deal with Fox Sports, they have to put interesting fights now on the Fox Sports, you know, and on those cards. Had a bit of alcohol last night, guys, so my brain's a bit down at the moment, but I'm trying to do my best here. So, like, yeah, like even things said what's his name? Not Dana White, the other dude. He was saying like they did kind of rush into the deal pretty quick. They didn't really think it all out properly. So yeah, but this card, like I'll get into Rampage shit. Rampage, because he's still got like a 3 fights left on his contract with Bellator, and everyone knows that Bellator and UFC are not getting along good at all. Yeah, Dana White talks pretty openly about him and basically smashes the shit out of them. You know, talking shit and all that. Like Bellator and just Dana does not get along good at all. So no surprise there, Bellator's trying to fuck him up. But really, don't blame Bellator. Like if Dana White's talking shit about my MMA organisation, I probably would have done the same thing. But I do agree, Dana. I don't give a fuck about Bellator now. You know, I watched at one point. I used to watch Ben Askren, but don't anymore now. I was like, what's the point watching Bellator shit compared to UFC? But yeah, like Rampage getting pulled from the card was not the last nail in the coffin. Like Rampage should have been on Fox Sports. I don't really give a shit about that fight. Fabio Maldonado, like stylistic matchup, pretty cool, but that's not what's going to make you pay $49.95 for pay-per-view, guys. So yeah, but it's pretty funny though. Some people say that's the last nail in the coffin. I don't think so. But yeah, this card's pretty weak. Demetrius Johnson does not do good pay-per-view numbers, and this fight, he's with Horiguchi. Like even Horiguchi said he would prefer 2 more fights under his belt before he goes for the title. And I'll quickly say this before I end this video, that the flyweight division is probably one of the weakest divisions in the UFC. It's just such a new division. A lot of dudes like Chris Carriasso and Horiguchi are having to be rushed now to have a title fight and not really develop themselves into a full mixed martial artist so they can really give a real challenge, because there's not much contenders, because Demetrius Johnson has beaten John Moraga and fucking, you know, Joseph Benavidez. But I don't think this fight should have been happening. I thought John Dodson deserved his rematch. He's been number 1 contender for a while. That fight should have happened. Everyone's been writing off John Dodson, and that's not good. Do not overlook him. The first fight wasn't even like Demetrius. It was a fucking close fight, him and Demetrius Johnson. Like, don't think that for a second that like it was just, yeah, like John Dodson has got a lot better, and I actually think he can beat Demetrius. So, and Henry Cejudo, he's rising up as well. I watched him at UFC 185. I actually did a review of that pay-per-view. Check that out. That's really informative. That's an actual real pay-per-view review. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, Dodson and Cejudo, they're a lot more interesting contenders at the moment, in my opinion, than Horiguchi. But that's what I thought. Horiguchi should have at least like 1 or 2 more fights before fighting Mighty Mouse. But yeah, but Dodson, don't overlook him. He's actually getting way better. And that first fight was close anyway, so he's getting better. And I actually think he can beat Mighty Mouse and Henry Cejudo if he works on his striking. I think he can really be a good threat for the belt. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing a video soon talking about Mighty Mouse actually being overrated. So a lot of people disagree with me on that, but I'm actually thinking of doing that because I'm not going to go into it in this video because I was here to talk about this pay-per-view, but I actually got a lot of good points on it, and I do think he's overrated, and I do want to get into that at one point. But hopefully some people will watch this video, comment, talk, whatever. But yeah, just want to give my thoughts on this pay-per-view. Pretty shit pay-per-view. Don't watch it. Save your money. Don't spend $50 on this shit. Like all these people like who review MMA and all that shit, like they basically say, "Oh, this has got good stylistic matchups. Watch it." Well, you can talk. You get paid pretty good fucking money to basically watch MMA. Some of us don't have that sort of money, so yeah, fuck off. Like, no, I'm sick of all these reviews right on YouTube, like for each per matchup on UFC. Like, what the fuck? You're taking up all the main page. People like me who do real hard reviews, like put a lot of work into the shit, can't even get seen because, oh yeah, you'll do a review of each match on the fucking card. Like, what the fuck? Like, seriously. But I've gone on long enough. How long has this gone for? Well, 9 minutes. Alright. So, bye.